After my husband passed away, I got quite lonely and nothing to do in the house. My daughter said, "You always wanted to foster, Mum, why don't you do the temporary foster care?" And I thought, why not? So I started it then, and I just got in a role and I love it. Yeah, it's so rewarding.
The advantage of being a carer opened my eyes to the whole world and not see it as a black and white world. You know, there's so much disadvantage there, and being a foster carer has given us quite an insight into that.
It's surprising how many need help. You don't realise how many need help out there. You see them grow in front of you, they change, living in what I'd call a normal household to what they've been in a dysfunctional household. Like they haven't had meals put in front of them sometimes, or they get one meal a day probably put in front of them if they're lucky. They're in your house for less than 24 hours and they feel like they've lived there all the time, they're at home.
So I think I've learned a lot in regards to the strength in myself, the ability to have so much compassion for not just the kids but for their families too.
A lot of the time the children go back to their parents. We do it gradually, it's not like they're just thrown from one house to the next. In the end they get the idea, you know, when they're starting the transition, they're spending more and more time with the child. They're starting to get the feel of being a mum again and they're starting to enjoy it, and the kids just love their visits with their parents. They really do, they look forward to that. It's so rewarding what you've done with the child. The child's, you know, done a turnaround. These points you're telling the mum anyway, so she starts to get the idea what she should be doing.
So it's a great support network with Barnardos. The girls will often get together and have a cup of tea or coffee. We might meet up at a park and let the kids have a run around. So to anyone that's thinking or interested in becoming a short-term carer, I say give it a go. It's precious. It really is precious. You're entrusted with these little people. You're making that change for them to give back to the community in that way, and to give back to a child or to their family that need that support. I think definitely give it a go. You won't be disappointed.